Namaskar, welcome to this program Sunday with Kaivalya Dham. Myself Bodhe, I will be speaking on Kriya Yoga, rather Kriya Yoga of Patanjali, which is very famous. And this Kriya Yoga consists of three things: Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishwar, Pranidhan. And Kriya Yoga, by its very name, it's a practical thing. But then most of the things are theoretical only. How to put this Kriya Yoga into practice? Actually, Kriya Yoga, insofar as Patanjali has placed it in the beginning of second chapter, second pada, and then after 27 sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga starts. So, the relation between these two must be there, and that relation is that Kriya Yoga is the execution of Ashtanga Yoga. This is the relation to be, I think that when we talk of Kriya Yoga, what exactly is the relevance or role of Kriya Yoga in the entire scheme of Patanjalian Yoga, and the sequence or the relevance is that in order to execute the sadhana of Ashtanga Yoga, we have to start with Kriya Yoga. And that is the reason why Kriya Yoga is full of executive principles. The gist of Kriya Yoga is that Kriya Yoga consists in three forms of yoga. It's the synthesis of three forms of yoga. Three forms of yoga related with three constituents of yoga, that is Tapa, Swadhyaya and Ishwar Pranidhana. And these are the three constituents and giving rise to three forms of yogic activities. Tapa gives rise to Kriya Yoga or Karma Yoga rather, and Swadhyaya gives rise to Jnana Yoga, and Ishwar Pranidhana gives rise to Bhakti Yoga. So, these three features, Tapa, Swadhyaya and Ishwar Pranidhana, these are the three, not though they are different, but they are not, they are connected with each other. See, Tapa gives rise to action, okay, and action constitutes Karma Yoga, and Karma Yoga must be based on Jnana, and Jnana is sourced from Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya gives rise to Jnana Yoga. So, Karma Yoga is based on Jnana Yoga and accompanied by dedication, Bhakti Yoga, Ishwar Pranidhana. Here Pranidhana means bending forward, or it is what you call dedication, Samarpan, dedicating oneself entirely to the cause, and that Samarpan is symbolized in Ishwara Pranidhana. So, for execution of any plan, we want three potentialities or three Shaktis, and these three Shaktis go to constitute human resource. According to Yoga, human resource consists of three powers of the personality. So, Kriya Yoga speaks of developing these powers of the of personality, irrespective of your field, whether your field is science, your field is cricket, or your field is yoga sadhana. In every field, three powers are necessary on the part of personality, and those three powers are Karma Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and then Jnana Shakti and Ichha Shakti. Karma Shakti is related with Karma Yoga, Jnana Shakti is related with Jnana Yoga, and Ichha Shakti is related with willpower, that is Ishwara Pranidhana Bhakti Yoga. And these three yogas are to be developed. They must be made part and parcel of our personality, with which we can execute any project in our life, including Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali has envisaged or kept Kriya Yoga for this purpose, that because of the Kriya Yoga, 3 powers will be developed, and on the basis of that, those 3 powers, there will be execution of Ashtanga Yoga. So, for the execution of Ashtanga Yoga, there is Kriya Yoga. And now, how to develop these 3 powers? How to develop because Kriya Yoga, as is the case with any form of yoga, is a practical in nature. And so, in order to put this Kriya Yoga, what can be the technique? How to put into this Kriya Yoga? And for that purpose, these 3 forms of yoga must be simplified. I will start with Karma Yoga, that is, karma is the action. And action is difficult, it's not lollipop. We have to perform the action, take trouble in order to perform the action. No pain, no gain. In order to get the gain, we have to perform tapa, the hard work. And hard work is symbolized by what you call halasana. Halasana is action related with tapa, wherein one has to work hard in rainy season, in hot season, in cold season. So, taking pain is the part and parcel of Karma Yoga, and that is symbolized by halasana. What I want to say is that I am here correlating some of the asanas in order to realize these 3 forms of yoga, in order to develop 3 forms of Shaktis, and developing these 3 forms of Shaktis is nothing but human resource development, and that's the reason why Kriya Yoga has the lessons for human resource development. In whichever field you want to utilize these resources, irrespective of your field, these are the basic tenets which yoga has to give in the form of Kriya Yoga. So, with halasana, there is because halasana is a symbol of plowing. It's a plowing the personality. And what for we are plowing? We are plowing the personality for developing 3 powers: Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Ichha Shakti. We have to develop these 3 powers, and for that purpose we have to work hard, and working hard is the message that halasana gives us. And what we are plowing our personality, and this personality is called Kshetra in Bhagavad Gita and Ghata in Ghiran Samhita. इस घट को पकाना पड़ता है योगाग्नि में. In the fire of yoga, one has to bake this pot, and it is only when pot is baked properly it becomes eligible to hold the water. And here the pot is our personality, psychosomatic personality, and this psychosomatic personality has to be made eligible by acquiring so many qualities. And according to one form of yoga, that is Ghata Yoga of Ghiran Samhita, 7 qualities through 7 practices Ghata goes on acquiring, on the basis of which it realizes its own self. All the 7 angas are there, and each one of them endows with particular quality to the Ghata, or enriches the capacity, quality of the performance of this Ghata. And this quality is not only acquiring, performing action, but also acquiring knowledge. So, all 7 forms of practices of Ghiran Samhita endow with 7 qualities, and then Ghata becomes a properly baked to hold, ready to hold the truth here, ready to accomplish whatever projects are there. So, Kriya Yoga is related with Tapa, and this can be understood with the help of asana, and this asana, there can be many other asanas, but then I am choosing halasana because it symbolizes hard work, and halasana is a plowing the personality, and while plowing the personality, we must know what are the plus points in us and what are the wrong points in us. The wrong points are the negative values, negative habits which we must be which we must put away from us. We have to identify negative values. Halasana invites us to identify negative values, and these negative values are called antarayas in Patanjali Yoga, and 9 forms of antarayas are there, and everyone knows that there are besides these antarayas, there are also other points which hinder the progress, and one has to purify, one has to remove, one has to identify these and replace them by the good ideas or good habits. Antarayas must be replaced by their opposites, and that is the reason why vitarka badhane pratipaksha bhavanam, whenever our personality is attacked by or beset with negative powers or negative ideas, we have to replace them with positive ideas. This is what is involved in halasana. Halasana appears to be very simple. So far, halasana has been utilized only from the material or physical point of view for taking care of what you call back pain. But the utility of halasana is beyond just benefits of physical health and so on. The halasana helps us in plowing, culturing, nurturing our personality, and for every occasion there is a particular personality, and this, while teaching halasana, all these qualities need to be incorporated. Then only we will be making justice to Swami Kvilananda's saying, often quoted saying, that yoga has a message for body, yoga has a message for mind, and yoga has a message for soul. And halasana helps us to realize those messages for body, mind and soul, and preparing or enriching or developing or nurturing these 3 powers in order to make ourselves ready with Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga has to be developed. Performance of action is not only the business of Arjuna. We are all Arjunas, we are all subjected by 3 gunas, and as long as we are subjected by 3 gunas, we have to perform the action, and this is the message that is given by halasana. And halasana asks us to raise certain questions that are you having all the qualities that can be helpful in performing the asanas? Whether your work is based on knowledge, because plowing is a work, and which kind of seeds you want to sow in your life. When you plow, when you prepare yourself, you are preparing for something. You must have goal, and halasana asks us to have goal. Yoga is a goal oriented activity. Conceive the goal and the knowledge of the goal, and it is in this way. Karma Yoga requires Jnana Yoga. There is no watertight compartment, though these 3 are the three forms of yoga, but there is no watertight compartment among these 3. Karma Yoga requires, it must be based on Jnana Yoga. And Jnana Yoga comes from Swadhyaya. So Tapa, Karma Yoga comes from Tapa, bearing. No pain, no gain. One has to bear the pain for performing action. To deny the suffering of the pain amounts violation of Asteya. So if you want to, what halasana says is that, Tapa says is that, if you want to ensure your life, you have to pay the premium. If you want to become mother, you have to bear the pain of 9 months. So that is the significance of tapa. Tapa is not simply standing in the hot sun or burning and sleeping on the bed which is full of thorns and so on. Tapa means readiness to sacrifice, to suffer for a better cause. Jesus Christ suffered on the cross for the better purpose. So tapa has a great role towards the development of Kriya Yoga, and this Kriya Yoga has to be developed, and for that purpose some tips or some points can be spoken of for Kriya Yoga, and after that I will speak of Jnana Yoga, how to develop it through Swadhyaya, what are the things, what are the values, what are the capacities, what are the qualities are required for performing Jnana Yoga, and then for Bhakti Yoga, but presently for performing action, some practical day-to-day life tips are there, and those tips are: perform one action at at a time. Otherwise, what will happen? Master of all trades, jack of all trades, and master of none, it will be there. So, for at a time only one work, eka veles ekach kaam kara. That is the message. And then, when you perform action, don't perform action for showing others. Perform action for your own satisfaction. You must get satisfaction from your, pour yourself 100% in your action. That is tapa, and that is dedication, and that is bhakti. So, don't perform action in order to increase your ego. No. Without ahankara, you have to perform action, and this is also the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Perform action without any kind of egoness. Even the I am doing the action, this feeling is also not necessary. See, the difference between material life and spiritual life is that according to material life, I am performing the action, but according to spiritual life, I am instrument in the hands of God for action. That's the difference. It's not I am performing action, egolessness. That is the, performing action without any ego is yoga karmasu kaushalam. That is the, then only there will be action, will be skill, yoga will be skill in action. So, don't perform actions for showing others. Then, just for work's sake, no. What we call in Marathi, pata takne. When you work, don't just tako the patas. No, you must do it for satisfaction. Which work you do is not important. How you perform that work is more important. That is the message of halasana, that is the message of Kriya Yoga, which we get from Patanjali's Kriya Yoga. So, we must get samadhana, we must get santosh of our works, and that's the reason why we must have a proper knowledge of action. If we want to sow the seeds, which kind of seeds I am going to sow? Whether they are scientifically or agriculturally sound seeds. So, am I plowing, am I what you call sowing the seeds of goodness, or what I am plowing? Am I sowing or planting the trees of medicine, or all sorts of negative drugs? So, this awareness, simple halasan, ask us to investigate into what for you are doing, what you are doing, that what is the aim. So, commitment is very much necessary, and this commitment is nothing but what you call surrendering oneself. We now go to the another very important aspect of Kriya Yoga, that is what you call tapa, swadhyaya, because Kriya Yoga is consists of tapa, swadhyaya and Ishwar Pradhan. Now, this swadhyaya is the source of knowledge. Okay, of course, commentators have interpreted the swadhyaya, but then the gist of swadhyaya is that getting oneself knowledge or information. So, swadhyaya is the source through which we have knowledge required regarding our action. So our action must be based on knowledge, sound knowledge, and this sound knowledge is Jnana Yoga, and for that purpose, in order to acquire Jnana Yoga, we have to undergo, we have to what you call imbibe in us so many values, so many qualities without which we cannot be successful in acquiring knowledge. And for example, for acquiring knowledge, we must love truth, we must be ready to accept the reality. Is truth or satya or is one of the yamas, but then simply Satyam is not simply speaking truth, but accepting the reality. That is the very crux of the Satya. So, being critical, being open-mindedness, keeping our eyes always open, without bias, without kleshas. One must have what you call capacity of discrimination. For acquiring knowledge, and what we call sarasar vichar, I mean taking the stock or taking the knowledge of situation from all its angles, thinking not only or seeing the reality not only from one angle, but seeing the reality from different angles. We know the story of elephant, one elephant and 10 blind people. See, taking one aspect of the reality and considering it entire aspect of the reality is a wrong thing. We have to take into consideration, for acquiring knowledge, we have to take into consideration all angles, all perspectives. From one perspective, we know the reality, but there are other perspectives also. So this is called thinking pros and cons, thinking from all the sides. And this thinking from the sides, now we are seeing the reality by standing on our legs, and we are able to get exposed to only an aspect of reality, but then there are different aspects of the reality. So we have to change the situation, we have to change the position. The change the position may be that so far we are standing on our legs, we have to stand on our shoulders or stand on our head. That is called Viparit Karni or Sirsasana. Just as Halasana was useful for developing the work ethos, healthy work ethos, similarly Sirsasana or topsy-turvy poses help us, invite us to think or see the reality not only from one angle, from another angle also. So see the reality, so also not only topsy-turvy or Sirsasana or Viparit Karni, even Trikonasana. Trikonasana also widens our range of perception when we perform the actions. So, or even Brahma Mudra, we are seeing the reality from all the sides. Brahma Mudra is just not rotation of neck. Of course, the benefits of Brahma Mudra in the health of neck are undeniable. We accept that, but the purpose of Brahma Mudra is that Brahma is related with knowledge. Let knowledge come from all the sides, above, below, side, and so on. Then only be Catholic. So truth. So one must be committed to the truth. Let knowledge come from all the sides. So Viparit Karni, shoulder stand, or Trikonasana, or Brahma Mudra. These are a few asanas which are conducive for developing our knowledge, Jnana Shakti, that is Swadhyaya. And for that purpose, one must develop a particular attitude, and that attitude is what you call scientific attitude, objective attitude, without any bias. We must be bias free in seeing the reality. Purvagraha rahit, purvagraha dushit nahi rehna, or it is in this way we must be free from kleshas, and our acquiring knowledge requires us to be away from the kleshas. If we are full of raga and dvesha, then we will not assess the reality objectively. Objectivity requires being away from, being free from kleshas. So it is in this way. Don't speak without proof, without base. That is the requirement for Jnana Yoga. Don't claim, don't have any tall claims at all. And it is in this way. Live always in present, and don't live in the past and future. That is also develop the difference between sadhya and sadhana. Don't treat sadhanas means as ends. That is the viveka. And all these things, all those things which you don't change, which you cannot change, the hoshiari is, the wisdom is that accept them. All those things which you cannot change the world, you have to accept the world. You cannot spread the leather on entire kingdom. Just put the leather to your own feet and walk in this world which is full of thorns and so on. So all those things which you cannot change, you must accept that. That is also one. And also have the philosophy Jio and Jina Do, live and let live. This is very conducive for developing knowledge. It is in this way. You might be observing that I am connecting Karma Yoga with asanas, Jnana Yoga with another set of asanas. So asanas are the platform. They are not simply physical poses, but they are states of consciousness. Asanas are states of consciousness beyond physical poses. So this is about the Jnana Yoga, but besides that we have also bhakti, because our knowledge, our action is accompanied by our knowledge and based or stimulated by the commitment. So action, knowledge and commitment, they go together, and this commitment is dedication. It's not only Ishvara Pranidhana, but it is Pranidhanam is dedication. Jau Konami Sharan, the submitting ourselves, 10 sigma level of dedication. So, and this dedication comes from forward bending asanas. When we bend ourselves, we are surrendering ourselves. So, unfortunately, we don't teach asanas in this way. Asanas must be taught from them. Then only yoga will have the message for all the three aspects of the reality. Otherwise, our teaching of asanas will be merely what you call a physical posture or physical exercises. Asanas have look. What is significance of asanas? Just split the word asana. Asana requires control over your inner beings. Asana. Asana. When if you want to perform asana, आसन करना है तो आपको आस को मारना है. आसन आस न मारो, आस न मारो तो क्या खाक आसन मारो. So you have, and this is signified by Patanjali when he says that प्रयत्न शैथिल्य and ananta samapatti. In asana, where your mind must be attached to this infinite. And what is this infinite? There is a lot of argument about this infinite. Some people say this God. Yes, it is God, but then people don't want to bring God. God has to be brought. God has to be brought. And to whom we should surrender? We should surrender to the greater cause, and there is no greater cause other than God, and we must be committed to God. It means committed to. So this commitment comes from the forward bending asanas. So it is in this way Kriya Yoga, okay, requires following of these tips, and it is in this way one should, by acquiring several values, we should develop our personality, and this is the message which we get from asanas, and that's the reason why Kriya Yoga is the synthesis of yamas and niyamas on one hand and asanas on another hand. So it is a synthesis of yamas, niyamas, and asanas, and three forms of yoga: karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So this is the simplest way of our effort of putting Kriya Yoga in a simpler way. Thank you. All these things which I have discussed so far since last 31 minutes, they are discussed in an elaborate way in the book which has been published in last month by myself through Kaivalya Dham, and this book is Yoga and Value Education. All these points are discussed in this. Those who want written document about my lecture, this lecture, can go for this book. Thank you.